little creatures called fairies who can cast magical spells. These spells can do things like using skills such as Protection Shield or even healing minor injuries. Thanks to Aren's ability, he had been able to successfully hunt and survive the third round. The Heavenly Demon listened in silence. After thinking for some time, the Heavenly Demon, with a smiling face, said to the bodyguard that he should maintain a close relationship with Aren because she seemed to have a really interesting class. In the future, she might become a very strong and important person. The Heavenly Demon also suggested that if the bodyguard wanted to, he could even date Aren, as she was actually quite a gorgeous lady. So if the bodyguard managed to become affectionate with Aren, she would always be with them, and their team or forces would grow stronger because they needed more powerful awakeners, as Earth would no longer be peaceful in the future. Upon hearing this, the bodyguard became a little flustered, saying he couldn't do it because he was a virgin and didn't have the courage to be romantic, especially with Aren. He just lacked the confidence. However, Heavenly Demon, with a chuckle, told him he was just teasing about the dating part, as he hadn't seen the bodyguard laugh in a long time. But seeing the bodyguard getting shy indicated that he had feelings for Aren. Heavenly Demon suggested that the bodyguard could try dating Aren. Hearing this, the bodyguard grew a bit worried, realizing that even if he tried, Aren would likely reject him outright. He was certain of it. Heavenly Demon then asked if the bodyguard was still a man, to which the bodyguard replied that he was, but the problem was different. Aren still addressed him with a formal tone, calling him Mr. Bodyguard. Heavenly Demon decided to put an end to the playful banter and urged them to discuss the serious matters at hand. The bodyguard bowed his head and began explaining. He first apologized, stating that he had failed to carry out the Heavenly Demon's order to help and approach Black Scythe. Additionally, he hadn't been able to deliver the message that the Heavenly Demon had intended for Black Scythe. The bodyguard took a seat on a sofa and proceeded to recount everything that had occurred in round 3, starting from the death of the Musclehead and covering all the events. The Heavenly Demon listened attentively with a serious expression, maintaining silence throughout the narration. After the bodyguard had explained everything, the Heavenly Demon sat in contemplation, placing his hand on his chin. He remarked that based on the description of the bodyguard, the Divine Punisher seemed like a powerful entity, and even he, the Heavenly Demon, wouldn't have been confident enough to face it alone. The atmosphere turned gloomy. Hesitantly, the bodyguard continued, suggesting that individuals like Black Scythe, who were exceptionally strong and self-reliant, often had significant egos, making it nearly impossible to work together with them. The Heavenly Demon remained silent, wearing a serious expression, contemplating the information. He began to think that Black Scythe's stats must exceed their imagination, and his class, Black Scythe, sounded incredibly formidable. So much so that the Heavenly Demon felt a sense of shame, considering himself strong with his unique class, Dark Knight. With determination in his eyes, he wished to meet Black Scythe face to face and engage in a manly conversation. Then, still maintaining his serious expression, the Heavenly Demon replied that it was not the bodyguard's fault, and they couldn't hold him accountable for the mission's failure. The bodyguard once again apologized for falling short in the mission. The Heavenly Demon, while taking a sip of his cold whiskey with his usual serious demeanor, diverted the conversation away from Black Scythe and asked about the results of tracking down the thugs who had attempted to harass Aren. The bodyguard responded by mentioning that the boss had a nickname, Youngman, although it was unclear if that was his real name. The challenge was that there were thousands of people with the name Youngman worldwide, making it nearly impossible to track them all down. However, assuming he was in his 20s and looked identical to his real-life self, they narrowed the search to Koreans, reducing